Hi. Thanks so much for your attention and for listening to this message right now. It's super important that all of us use our voices to talk about our experiences with gun violence or our need for change so that gun violence doesn't happen to us. We all have a voice in this issue, and it's important that we all use that voice to say, why is preventing gun violence important to us? And urge Congress to take action, because this has been going on for far too long, affecting far too many communities across the country every single day. And we all have to stand up and demand the change that we want to see. In terms of me, my name is Nicole Hockley, and I help lead an organization called Sandy Hook Promise. On December 14th, 2012, almost 10 years ago, my youngest son, my beautiful butterfly, his name was Dylan, and he was murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School alongside 19 of his first grade classmates and 6 adults. And I can't even begin to convey to you the pain my family has endured every day since he was killed. The loss that we feel is immeasurable. In the wake of that shooting, I came together with several other family members whose loved ones were killed that day to try to find a way to prevent other parents from experiencing the senseless and horrific death of their children to gun violence. We set out to research and better understand the root causes and enablers of gun violence, as well as other forms of violence that impact children. We met with a wide range of people, including experts in academics, medical professionals, law enforcement, faith leaders, gun owners, educators, parents, and students, to help us better understand how we could have a sustainable and positive impact on reducing gun violence. The result was Sandy Hook Promise, an organization that I'm incredibly proud of that is dedicated to protecting children from gun violence in their schools, communities, and homes, and create a culture change that prevents violence and other harmful acts that hurt children every day. Through our Know the Signs programs, we've engaged over 18 million youth and adults across the country to prevent violence towards self and others. We're completely nonpartisan, and this is important because we're speaking to you from Congress right now, but being nonpartisan is important because gun violence doesn't choose you based on who you vote for. Gun violence is indiscriminate. It doesn't care where you live, who you love, who you are. It's there. It's present every day, and you're at risk, and the people that you love are at risk of it every day. This isn't about politics. It's about you. It's about me, and it's about the people that we love and the people that we want to protect and that we can take actions to protect. It affects every single one of us in our schools, our grocery stores, our hospitals, our movie theaters, our homes, and our communities. So rather than fight about sides, we need to focus on what we all agree about, that children, all adults, deserve to be safe and free from gun violence. Unfortunately, this is just not the reality for too many people across the country. According to data from the CDC, guns are now the leading cause of death for children and adolescents in the United States. The leading cause of death. Let that sink in for a minute. The number one cause of death for children and adolescents in the United States is death by firearm, is gun violence. And since the beginning of this year alone, there have already been 267 mass shootings, more than one a day. And over 2,500 young people under the age of 18 have been killed or injured by gunfire. That's this year alone. Never mind the tens of thousands in the last decade. 3 weeks ago, 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. And all of us at Sandy Hook Promise are devastated by this shooting and haunted by the shocking similarities to our own tragedy. I looked at the photos of the children killed, and I saw my Dylan. I listened to the parents' anguish and torment, and I heard myself. And I thought, how can this living nightmare still be happening? Have we not learned? Have we not learned from our mistakes of letting these tragedies become nothing more than thoughts and prayers with no action? Do our politicians not care? Do they not hear our pleas to work together, address this, and help us live without fear and death every day? Do they not look at their own pictures of their family members? Do they not see the children that have died in their own children? Do they not look at those pictures of all the children that have died? Children like my son, Dylan. Can you look at that and not see your own child, your own grandchild? None of us are immune to this plague of gun violence. Now, having lived through a mass shooting and still enduring the pain of my child being killed in his first grade classroom, I know that nothing's going to bring back the precious lives lost in Uvalde. And I want to offer the families my compassion and commitment to honor their loved ones, along with our children and everyone else who has been killed, Buffalo, Philadelphia, everyone. As we continue our mission to end gun violence, we honor all of you. And if we can be of use to any of you now or in the future, please know we're at your service. From nearly 10 years of doing this work, I know that with the right policies and programs in place to ensure firearms are used safely and legally, gun violence is preventable. This is why Sandy Hook Promise supports policies such as expanded background checks, extreme risk protection orders, or ERPOs, sometimes called red flag laws, and secure storage. Background checks, let's just start with background checks, which I've been working on for 10 years now. They are a proven and essential tool to keep guns from getting into the hands of individuals who may harm themselves or someone else. Since the federal background check requirement became effective in 1994, more than 3 million illegal gun sales have been stopped by a background check. But there are loopholes in this law, and we need Congress to address them and close them to make this law more effective. Extreme risk protection orders, or ERPOs, they empower family members or law enforcement to prevent gun violence and firearm-related suicides by filing a petition with the court to temporarily separate an at-risk individual from a firearm. Separate them temporarily from the means to commit an act of violence. Now, in our school-based programs at Sandy Hook Promise, we teach students to know the signs of violence. How do you recognize someone who's at risk? And how do you tell a trusted adult or get the help for someone before they create an act of violence towards themselves or someone else? Now, ERPOs empower family members or law enforcement to do something similar and intervene to prevent gun violence when they see these warning signs. They're proven to save lives in the states that have them. Now, ERPOs are only in about 19 states so far. And since these are state-based laws, Congress needs to take action to support every state to have an ERPO. And for existing states to strengthen their laws, to ensure their best practice, evidence-based, have appropriate due process, and, this is super important, and enough education and awareness that everyone living in the state knows how to use an ERPO if they experience someone at risk of hurting themselves or someone else. A law is only as good as the people who know about it. So that education and awareness is incredibly important. Over this past weekend, a group of 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans announced a framework for a bipartisan gun safety package to address the rising rates of gun violence sweeping our nation. We commend these senators, including our own Connecticut senators, Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal, along with Senator John Cornyn of Texas, for showing bold leadership in coming together to protect our children and young people from gun violence. Bipartisan gun violence prevention and mental health support is possible. And this is the most significant progress we've had in decades. Now, the gun safety measures being included in this proposed package, such as additional background checks for buyers under the age of 21, and funding to support states in implementing ERPOs, extreme risk protection orders. All of these uphold Second Amendment rights while offering proven, common sense reforms that can be immediately put to work to protect our children and communities. We also applaud the senators' commitment to providing additional funding to support mental health services and school safety. Now, some will say this package goes too far. Some will say it doesn't go far enough. I say every step forward is a step that will save lives. Some will say this is a feel-good knee-jerk reaction to recent events. I say gun violence is every day. And had we taken actions like these years ago, thousands of people would still be alive. This isn't a response to an event. It's a response to what we are living with every single day. So please, we urge the Senate to support this package and quickly move the draft of the legislation to the floor for a vote. Every day without a vote, every day without this package in place means more people die. More young people, more old people, more family members, more people torn apart, living with grief and anguish every day. So let's stop thinking and praying after the fact and instead take action to prevent it from happening, to make that change happen now. So for you, everyone watching, please use your voice. Make yourself heard. Submit a video. Call on Congress and ensure that this time they take action. Thank you.